everybody, this is Emily from Canix's product team, and today we're going to walk through a process of turning our harvest into our initial bulk package post-harvest. So to start, we're going to go to Harvest Overview, Active, and we'll start from our active harvest table. So these are all harvests that you haven't marked as inactive yet, meaning you haven't finished these harvests. And as we take a look at this table before we jump into the action, we'll see here the name. This is the harvest name that was applied to the harvest at the time of creation, which we generally recommend a naming strategy of something like the strain name, sometimes flower room, and the harvest date. You'll also see the strain and harvest date separately here in different columns. And then as you start to take action on this harvest, we'll start to fill in these additional weights as we go. So within this, our total wet weight is the initial harvest weight that we entered when we created the harvest. This is the wet weight of the full plant material, including any waste like stems, plant material, anything like that. As that gets dried, or if you create any fresh frozen packages, those packaged weights will show up here in this packaged weight column. And as you create waste separately from those packages, meaning you're not creating a package with a waste type, you're creating an actual waste action, like you see here for creating harvest waste, that will create additional waste weight here in this waste weight column. As a result of those two weights, you'll see the current weight, which will just be a calculation of your total wet weight minus any dried weights and waste weights entered for this harvest. It's expected that you'll still have current weight remaining in this harvest after you've done any packaging and waste, and that represents the moisture loss of this harvest. So it's not expected that the current weight will be 0 in the end. So in this process, we have 25 pounds here that we can go ahead and start packaging. So I'm going to select anywhere in this row here, anywhere other than the blue text, because that will open up an action for us. So I'll select the checkbox or anywhere on my row to then select Actions, Create Packages. From this Create Packages screen, we see our source harvest information, including when it was harvested, the strain, and the current weight that we have remaining to package from. As we take our packaging actions here and start to create packages, we'll also see the remaining harvest weight that we have available to package from. And if this particular harvest had any cost on it, any cost accumulated from the plant phases, then we'll also have COGS that we can assign to our packages here. So to get started, all of our bulk settings here are on the left to help us create our new packages here on the right side. We can add individual packages, add additional individual packages if we're creating more than one by selecting Add Package. And we can fill in all of the details for our new package here. Or with our bulk settings, we can go ahead and specify the number of packages that we're going to create. With our starting package tag, this will be pre-filled from Canix with the next tag that we see in the sequence of tag numbers. So this means that the last tag that we used was 1677, and the next tag above that is 1678, which is being recommended. At any point, we can change these, which will update all of our tag numbers here on the right, or we can scan a tag number in front of us, which will update this whole tag field and also update our tag numbers on the right. So with our 5 tags here, each package or each kind of set of inventory that we're weighing needs its own tag number. And we also need to assign an item name to it to represent what this material is. So I'm going to create my initial package of bucked flour. And as I start searching for my items, if I don't see the item that I'm looking for, I can select Create New Item. In this case, I see my Alien Mince bucked flour, which matches my Alien Mince strain. So I'm going to select that. These packages will go to a trimmer after this process. So this is just the first phase of my post-harvest inventory. Additionally, I'll add a package date to all of these packages. And optionally, I can add an expiration date or a use by date so that that's additional inventory or additional information on my labels. But for this purpose, I'm not going to, just because they're initial raw material packages from my harvest, and those generally don't use those fields. I can also add my location. So all of these packages will go to my location 1. for storage or to be trimmed later. Now, as I enter my quantities, I can go ahead and select one package on the right and enter the quantity of this package. For this particular package, maybe this one is 2.57 pounds, but I can also choose a different unit like grams or anything else, and we'll convert to standardize those all in the same unit in reporting. Now you can also set the weight in bulk across all of my packages. So if I set this weight here to be 4 pounds across all my packages, that's going to update everything, including the field that I just edited. So be careful that if you make any changes here on the bulk settings on the left, that will update anything on the right side that you've already edited. Additionally, I can also distribute this current harvest weight equally across all of the packages, which you'll see I had 25 pounds remaining, and it gave 5 pounds to each of my packages. Additionally, we can add a production batch number if these packages are going to be tested before we use them in the next step of the process. Make sure to check your state's regulations for what material needs to be tested and when it needs to be tested. In my particular state, I don't need to test this raw material before I go and trim it, but I will test my trim or work in progress packages later on. So in this case, I will leave my production batch number blank since these packages will not be tested before they move on to its next stage, the next item. But I will enter a lot ID so that I can remember that all of these packages are grouped together by the same batch. And by same batch, I mean the same harvest batch, essentially. So I'm going to call this Alien Mints, just like our harvest name. And that way, anytime I'm looking at these packages, I'll be able to also see that they were grouped by the same harvest. Lastly, if I had any harvest cost on this harvest, I could also distribute that equally across all of my packages. And what that means is if some of the weight is larger in some packages than in other packages, we'll assign more cost to that package. So it will be proportionally applied based on each package quantity. In this case, we don't have any COGS on our package or on our harvest to apply to packages, so I will deselect that option in this case. Great, so we have 5 packages here. We don't have any more weight remaining for us to be able to package, so any additional packages that we add here will put us over the weight that we have remaining, and we would then have to edit any quantity. So let's say that this package is actually only going to be 3 pounds. I can now go ahead and add a new package for my remaining 2 pounds. You'll see that as I add this package, all of the settings from my bulk settings here on the left are being pre-filled automatically. I can go ahead and just select add, and we'll see the different quantities and my new package here at the bottom. Now that all of the required fields are completed, I can go ahead and submit this action. And each of these 6 packages here will get created with the tag numbers I have specified. As you see, they're successful here, so we can go ahead and look at our inventory packages table. And if we sort our package date, we'll see all of the packages that we just created today. Watching this video, if you have any questions on this process, go to our Help Center at help.canix.com to read more detailed step-by-step instructions. You can also reach out to our support team at help@canix.com or 415-894-9884 to help you further with your process.